Do you want to create training or do you need to create training, but you're kind of stuck where to start because you've heard of these things called objectives, but they really kind of confuse you? If that sounds like you, then stick around because today in this video, I am going to unlock the mystery when it comes to writing objectives. Hey there, my name is Alonda Carter and I'm a professional instructional designer. That means I design and develop training. I have the fancy degree in everything. Combined with being a former classroom teacher and creating instructional materials, I have over 20 years of experience. And I get it. I totally get it if you are befuddled by this entire concept of writing objectives. Truth be told, seasoned professionals in learning and development and classroom teachers too struggle sometimes with writing objectives and making them really clear. It is not you. It's a process. It's a skill just like anything else. If you're an expert in a particular topic, you did not become an expert overnight. You weren't born with that expertise. It came to you over time. Same thing with writing powerful objectives. This is a skill to acquire with practice over time. So let me go ahead and break this down for you. And I'm just going to pull something out of the air, kind of based on my own personal life. Okay, here's the thing. My husband, who I love dearly, he can tell you just about anything you want to know about the U.S. presidents because he grew up making lists. Making lists for him is a relaxing thing. So I'm going to draw on that just because, it comes. Okay, we're taking an objective and creating it based around the U.S. presidents because I'm using my real life experience of my husband creating lists about the presidents. So our objective is, given a set of presidential cards, be able to list the first 10 presidents in order with 100% accuracy. So when you're teaching this, you would be giving your learners a set of cards, informational cards, that they would be able to use to gather information about the presidents. So let me go ahead and break this down because an objective contains 3 parts. I created what I am calling the objective train. And as you can see, the little cars all together equal the objective. An objective is made up of 3 parts. We start with the caboose, which is the action. The middle car is the condition, and the first car is the criterion. Altogether, that creates your objective. But what the heck are each of these parts? I'm so glad you asked because I'm going to break this down further for you and continue to use the objective that we started with. So let me pull up the next slide. Boom, here we go. Your action is list. It is the one action that you are expecting your learners to be able to take. Now, these action verbs that we use come from what's called Bloom's Taxonomy. And I'll show you a little bit about that later, but I don't want to get in too much of that because it can get really kind of convoluted. And I have something that will be able to help you outside of this video to break that down further. But for right now, just know with this objective, the action that is being taken is to list. So let's move on and look at the condition. The condition is the set of presidential cards. From there, you got to figure out, well, what is the criterion? How are you going to measure whether or not your learners are able to do this? It is with 100% accuracy. They will be able to list the first 10 presidents in order with 100% accuracy. Your criterion is the level of accuracy that you are expecting. Now, earlier I did mention Bloom's, and I will show something to you. I created Bloom's Taxonomy in a stair-step version. It is typically, and you can probably see the slide underneath here, there's a triangle. It's typically displayed as a triangle, but I think it's really important to think of it as a stair-step in terms of you are moving up the stairs in levels of complexity. Notice on the right-hand side, I have lower order thinking and simple above it. And up at the top, I have complex, higher order thinking. That's because that's how you're moving. You're moving from the simplest stuff to the most complex. Now, what I've done here, it says combine Bloom's taxonomy. That's because there are two versions of Bloom's. The first was created in 1957 and the second in 2001. And what I did is I kind of clumped them together. Most people are still familiar with the 1957 version. The 1957 version, the words for that are on the left-hand side, and for the 2001 version, the words are on the right-hand side. So in sum, what you are doing is figuring out the action that you're going to be taking in relation to this taxonomy. Now, for each of these levels, there are associated verbs, and that's the list that you use to be able to draw from, to be able to figure out what is the action that you want your learners to be able to take. Write your objectives. Remember to think of the objective train, with the engine being the objective and the train cars being the action, condition, and the criterion. Now, here's the thing about objectives that people get confused all the time. Is often you find people are writing a list of objectives thinking about what they're going to teach. It isn't about what you teach, but it's really all about what the people you're teaching, what they're going to be able to do. It's not about you, boo. It's about them. Your focus always needs to be on who you're teaching, on your target audience, on your learners, on your participants, whatever you want to call them. It's what they are able to do after the instruction is over. They leave your course. That's a 2-day workshop. They complete your online training, whatever it is. Once they finish it, what are they going to be able to do? What are they going to be performing? What is that skill? What is that thing? And how are they going to be able to do it? Because you're not going to be around to help them. You're expecting to the overall. You are teaching them something that they are going to be able to do themselves. That's the overall goal. So again, when you are constructing your training, it's not about you. It's about them. But your objectives align to the content that you're presenting and how you're presenting it, and to how you're going to assess people. For instance, we have our presidential objectives. So if this is going to be taught, the condition of giving people a set of cards that has all this information, that's the tool that they're going to be able to use. So your activity that you're used to teach that would be based on those cards. It's not that, like what you are going to do. You are not going to be just creating a list on a board or something like that. You're expecting your people to be able to create that list, and you're providing them a way to be able to disseminate that information. Something that you might do, because they have these informational cards, is start having them put them in order of the presidents of when they were in office. Something else you might want to do is put them in alphabetical order. Do different things. Ask trivia questions. You're doing things to help people construct that knowledge. But at the very end, your overall objective is to have them be able to create that list in order of the first 10 presidents. So your objective supports your instruction, but it's also that thing that people are going to do when they complete your instruction. And that's the real important difference I really want to get to you, is that it's all about what the people are expected to be able to do. It's so very important, and it's something that is often overlooked or forgotten. And it does take a lot of time to figure this out, because as you're writing your objectives, you're thinking about, how am I presenting that content? How am I going to get people to learn this? And how am I going to be able to figure out if they're able to do this to the degree of mastery that I'm expecting them to do it? So you do have to put thought and care into writing your objectives. And remember, it takes time. Like anything else, it's a skill. But to help you out, I did create a Fiverr gig that's all about teaching you how to write amazing objectives. I am providing several different options on my Fiverr gig, and I will put the link below. So if you want to check that out, go ahead and do that. And there's even an option that I will work with you one-on-one to support you in writing those objectives. Now, I really hope that you found this information really helpful. Go ahead and give the video a thumbs up and follow me, and go ahead and hit that little bell so that you can get that notification, subscribe, and all that jazz. I really appreciate you being here. And remember this, change starts now.